Right now, the housing market in Vegas is pretty stable, but it might not stay that way. We're facing an eviction apocalypse. We're going to talk about the possible eviction apocalypse. We're going to talk about my raspy voice, because I already know my haters are hoping I got the C19 virus, and I know it's terrible, but I actually heard that in a chat yesterday. Nobody saw it. I saw it. I see things that you guys don't see. And we're also going to talk about the fact that this might instabilize. There, I made up a word, instabilize. It's another word that the channel invented. This might destabilize the entire housing market in Vegas, or it might just be fine. I don't know. You tell me what you think in the comments below. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for the notifications. We're going to have a question and answer with my realtor, Josh Mullins, coming up on the channel tomorrow or the next day, one of those 2 days. So make sure you subscribe and hit the bell for that. And leave me a comment below. Are you dealing with something like this in your hometown? Did they do what we did here in Nevada? They probably did. What's the general consensus where you're from? And what do you think is going to happen? All right, so if you want to reach out and support us, go to the Patreon. You can be in the credits of the video. You guys can also see videos I post early and different photos I post. VegasFaceMask.com, the only 2 face masks you'll ever need, made by my wife, shipped out to you. If your state requires them, you might as well get ones handmade in the USA. Support the channel that way. Also, links below for Amazon and Vegas.com. So if you're shopping Amazon, just do it. Vegas.com. You can book a trip out here. They credit back the channel. Filming this in my car where it is very hot. Anyways, so we need to talk about the timeline and my raspy voice. First of all, raspy voice. I have gotten the same upper respiratory cold every year for 15 years in Las Vegas. Yesterday, a lot of people were concerned. I don't have a fever. I'm temperature checking myself all the time. Don't have any symptoms. I have an appetite, no headache, no muscle aches, don't feel fatigued. Just can't talk really good right now. But I want to make the video anyways. Secondly, timelines. Steve Sisolak enacted a moratorium on evictions. Now, this happened in the middle of March. That means that people can't be evicted. They didn't have to pay their rents. So we had April, May, and June. The moratorium lifts on the 30th of June. So come July 1st, all of your rents are due all at once. So why do we even have that moratorium on the rents? Well, it makes sense, right? Businesses had to close down. People weren't working. We didn't want to have a bunch of people homeless. Besides, the courts weren't operating. So what would be the point of evicting people? You know, the sheriff didn't want to show up to put an eviction notice on somebody's door when we didn't know enough about the C19 virus. And it was just something that was impractical to do during the entire pandemic. We're still in the pandemic, make no doubt about it. But we are at a place and a point where the unemployment rate is falling. And they figure they should lift the moratorium and to force people to pay their bills. And I guess that's a good thing. You got to think about it from both sides of the coin. Yes, there's a lot of people that are unemployed right now, but those people are hopefully now funneled into the never really functioning properly unemployment system in Nevada. It's been a nightmare. If you're having problems with it, I feel you. I try to do it. They wouldn't let me do it. After I struggled, they said I don't qualify, probably for the better, right? But if you're getting the government assistance, I guess they figure you can pay your bills. I guess they figure that you might be back to work. So now here we are. But we have a bigger problem, and it comes down to something I noticed, a trend around town that I want to explain to you guys. So the bigger trend that I'm noticing is that there's never any retail in pawn shops anymore. And so I go to pawn shops. Why do I go there? Not to pawn my stuff, not because I'm a cheapskate. That's true too. But I go there because sometimes you can get microphones for cameras. You can get gadgets, electronics that, you can send in a box to the family in the Philippines, or you can get a tablet that you can break and not have to worry about for when you're cooking in the kitchen. I look for stuff like that. And you go to the pawn shop now, there's no merchandise. I mean, seriously, these things look like those pictures you used to see of what, Soviet Union grocery stores look like. They used to have a display case for cameras, jewelry, handbags, everything. Now they don't have anything. And so I asked the pawn people, I call them a pawn broker. I say, what's going on? And they say, stimulus checks. We were the only thing that was open in terms of retail that wasn't a Walmart. And Walmart doesn't sell all the cool stuff that we have. People didn't want to go do curbside at Best Buy. So they came here, they spent their stimulus money. So I'm going, oh, I see. What other money did they spend? And what I think happened with a lot of people is that you gave people the ability to not pay their bills, and they probably spent that money in another place, because people don't really think forward thinking in a lot of ways, do they? I mean, let's be honest. There's only so much that $1,200 of stimulus money can actually buy you. What else did they spend their money on? Because some of the items that are missing out of that store, they're a lot more than $1,200. So did we all run out as a collective group and lose our minds and not have to pay our bills and spend our money in the wrong place, and now we're trying to borrow from Peter to pay Paul? Is that really happening? So what happens to the people that have to pay their bills, and how much do they have to pay? Now, if they missed 3 months of payments from April, May, and June, and they paid $1,500 a month, that means that on July 1st, they have a $4,500 price tag that they have to come up with. So what's going to happen on that day? You might say, well, they won't be able to pay. They'll just get a few days assistance. No, they won't. That's the thing. We have this crazy thing here. It's called a 5-day notice. Nevada is one of the easiest states to evict people out of. I know this because I nearly went through it. My channel stepped in and helped me, and I got connected, and now I have a place to live. But we have a thing where if you don't pay your bills, you got 5 days. Yeah, if you can't pay your bills here, the sheriff shows up. They put a notice on your door. You have to respond. You have to go to the court. You have to get extra time. Now, if you have somebody in your house that's over the age of 60, or you have somebody else in your house who has special needs, you can have a lot more time. But in a lot of cases, you plead your case to the judge, and the judge says basically pay your rent or leave. And that's a bad thing. So we might have a situation with people having to be evicted en masse, and the courts are going to just process all the evictions. Now, it might go slower than 5 days. I can't really tell you that right now, but we're going to have to see what happens, won't we? So now some people in the video is going to say, who cares? Stiff those property owners. Well, yeah, okay, but here's the thing. This could set up major instability in the Las Vegas market. And I'm not trying to be like the scare you to death guy. That's not what I'm ever here for. But just consider this for a minute, okay? If you're a Jack and Jill homeowner and you buy a second home, and then you pay a mortgage on the second home, but you rely on that mortgage to be paid by a renter who can't afford to pay their bills for 3 months, the mortgage company might have given you a little bit of time to not have to pay the mortgage while your renter tries to pay the mortgage or the bills for you by paying the rent. But when July 1st comes around and they can't pay rent and you evict that renter, if that renter moves out of town and other people move out of town, and then we have less renters in Las Vegas, Jack and Jill homeowner who relied on somebody to pay their second home that they were renting out might have a situation where they have to foreclose on that property, thereby causing instability in the marketplace in Las Vegas. And I'm not an expert. Okay, we talked to Josh about this in the video. I'll be on the channel in a few days. I don't know how long it takes to process an eviction, a foreclosure. I think it takes some time. So we might have to wait till August or September to find out if we have a bunch of foreclosures, if we have a bunch of exodus of people outside of Las Vegas. Because you got to remember, this is not like it was a few months ago. You see, a few months ago, if somebody was in Las Vegas and they wanted to move somewhere, where were you going to go? There was nowhere else to go, right? You're not going to go to Texas or New York or Florida or California. It's no better there. There was no economy. Nobody's working. But now we do have parts of the country that are working. We do have opportunities for people to leave. And so I'm wondering if people decide to get evicted and then move out of the state and don't get another rental house, what happens to the homeowners? And there are condos that are not privately owned. They're owned by large corporations. Well, they're not privately owned by large corporations. And those people, they'll adjust their prices. So the rents might fall a little bit. But what goes for those homeowners? And we have to really watch for that and have a keen eye. So we'll definitely keep you up to date on the channel about foreclosures if they start to happen, which I'm not saying will. I'm just saying it's a possibility, right? So it's a very interesting, delicate situation that we're in. But we definitely do have an eviction apocalypse upon us, okay? The storage company that I deal with, they've upped their rates on their website in last month. Now, they're trying to get me out of the unit. They're asking me if I want to vacate the unit. I'm like, no, I need my storage. I'm not going to vacate the unit. But that means that they might foresee, because they're a large company, they're not a mom and pop storage place. They've raised their rates. They know what's going to happen. They have an idea because they've been doing this for 30 years across the country. So we're going to see what happens. We're going to double check the stats, and we're going to take a look in a few weeks to see what's happening. And we'll report the news here on the channel accordingly. So that's an interesting take on that, isn't that? Nobody ever thinks of that, but it's a trickle up and a trickle down thing too. But what were people spending their stimulus money on? They're supposed to pay your rent that month, folks. Don't spend it on the gadgets. You know where your priorities lie. Man, do I ever sound raspy on the phone. I'm going to go drink some hot tea. Once again, my name is Steven. I'm not leaving Las Vegas. I'm a Vegas blogger. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Hit the bell for the future notifications. If you guys want to be on the Patreon, you can be in the credits of the video. If you guys want to go ahead and do the face mask thing, it's VegasFaceMask, no S on the end.com. And we will see if I can get a live stream on camera tonight. I don't know. This laryngitis is killing me. Now's the time of the video where I say 3, 2, 1, click. So 3, 2, 1, ready, and click.